It's a day. That's all I'm going to say. It's a day. Welcome, everybody. Sorry, just getting on. Had a huge homegoing for how old was he? Like 18 or 19? For teenager, football player, played for Canisius, played for St. Francis, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt that we'd be running a little behind. But, you know, you got to take care of the living, got to take care, make sure everybody's all right. So I do want to say for Kevon and his classmates, all the football team, Councilmember Wyatt was here with us and others. But to see, it's overwhelming a little bit. You know, it's hard to shift from coming out of a room full of young people, mourning the passing of their teammate, their son, their brother, and to just shift right in the radio. So I'm just taking a few minutes kind of get it together so that we can talk about the issues of the day. But it was beautiful service. Just
beautiful. And Bishop, you just have a way to do these things. And I think at the end of the day, you let people know this is about Christ, because you talked about the team.
Yeah.
The Father, the Son. Some people might have been thinking, oh, it's a football team. No.
Right.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And I think the family received it. And I think, again, this was a homegoing that, of course, God plucked a young man who was just a superstar. And
freshman, and he was on the travel team already.
Yeah.
And, you know, he grew up in a community that sometimes they don't make it out.
Right.
And you said it, he was determined.
Yes.
And he did so. And so we praise God for his life and that he was the ones that made it. And I hope that others will follow the example. But you got to make up your mind.
Yeah.
What you want to do with your life.
Yeah. I think, and, you know, to see all those young people again, as we've seen over and over. And a young lady came up to me after the service. And she said, you know, I come here young, and she said, you know, it's changed my life so much.
Wow.
And then she said, she said it, life is so hard.
Yeah. And
so I want people out there to know that you're not the only one that, and we had this little discussion, and you did a wonderful job on the reels.
Yeah. Thank you, AI.
Yeah, thank you. You got to teach me that, because you did a wonderful job on that. That life is hard, and you got to, like I said today, stay on the field. Just keep on pressing, keep on pushing, and don't give up no matter what. Just don't give up. I think about how many days, and I'm not going to turn this into a counseling session, but how many days I wanted to give up, how many hours I wanted to give up, how many times I've, you know, I have this habit of walking through the house just rubbing the walls. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I got one hallway that's kind of narrow, and I just walk through it. But the key is stay on the field. Don't give up. Don't give in. And things won't always, I know we sing it all the time, but it won't always be like this.
No.
You got to trust God. And okay. So let's get to, now one thing you probably can't talk about, I can. Mm-hmm. And I can talk about it because it's in the Buffalo News, that there may be a settlement for the Buffalo Five. And let me just say this, I can say it, the council member can't, because certain things are confidential on his end. So let me be clear. This is Darius Pridgeon, independent of any government body except for paying taxes. First of all, I don't remember who did the resolution, but I know that all council members signed a resolution congratulating them for their release. And that daggone thing ain't worth nothing if they ain't get any money. And right now the numbers, according to Buffalo News, the numbers are somewhere around 8 million, which, honest to goodness, ain't nothing when you done gave up, when your life was taken.
Yep.
But I think there's only 2 left.
Yes.
And they're very ill.
Yeah.
And so let them have something at least,
right,
to be able to live.
I was going to say, and you know, allow them to do something and then be able to set up, again, as we talk about, the future generations of their family
Absolutely.
for the pain and suffering that they went through. So whether the amount, we could probably discuss, all argue a point, but anything that you can't earn in 1 year's salary is better than nothing.
Absolutely. And I mean, 8 million true survivors. I don't know, and again, the council member can't discuss this. I don't know how that gets chopped up. I haven't seen anything. I'm going to be clear. It's only from the Buffalo News. Buffalo News contacted me yesterday, and that's it.
And Bishop, just because I know I don't know the details of it,
Right.
But at the end of the day, I saw that amount and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But as you said, is that sufficient for these men who have lost their lives that didn't
Since teenagers.
Yes. So, but I'm supportive of it because at the end of the day, we've been doing some things as far as payouts for lawsuits regarding police matters, and this is something that hopefully will bring something to this family.
Absolutely.
Who suffered all these years.
Absolutely.
Because you can't put a price on the fact that they weren't there for their children, their loved ones.
Absolutely. I woke up this morning when I saw the article, and I'm grateful. There's several things, and all the screaming memes out there who just want to hate will never say that we got accomplished.
Absolutely.
And this was one of them.
Yes.
And we were on the front line. When they came to me, people come to me all the time and say I'm innocent. And God knows, and I'm saying it, I don't give a damn. I know what it feels like to be accused of something, and you don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yep.
And then people go with it for the rest of your life, no matter what. So I get it. And this was even beforehand. When they came to me and they brought paperwork, and they said, first of all, I felt like I trusted them a little bit more, and I'm going to tell you why. Nobody does that much time and then gets out and still talking about I'm innocent.
Right.
If you did it, you do your time, you'd be like, all right, I'm
Absolutely.
finished.
You go somewhere, be quiet, hopefully.
So I got to think, because when I got the call from somebody, and I can't go into detail, when I finally got the call from Paul Cambria, the attorney, and he asked me these words, and Paul is a friend, Darius, are these guys real? That's all he wanted to know. And when I said to Paul, they're real, Paul, I said, Paul, if you can find, Paul got them off. And then another lawyer got them their money. I had nothing to do with that, but I'm standing 10 toes down. I remember where I was when Paul called me on the phone and said, is this a real? Is this something I should be spending time? And Paul represented them for free. Pro bono. And I remember when he finally found that opening, and he said, I think I got it. I think I got it. So I have to say thank you to Paul Cambria publicly for believing in people he didn't even know.
Right.
And the other person, I can't say their name because of where they work, but who said to me, and this was a white person, who said, Darius, I wish these guys could get a good attorney.
Yep.
So all I can say, if this person ever listens to the show, I would never out you, because at the end of the day, you trusted me to be confidential, and I'm going to remain confidential when that person reached out to me. And then when Paul reached out, it was over. Yeah. Same thing, and that we'll never, with Cariel, and we started the ball rolling. Of course, the state had to do some things. It wasn't, but the Common Council stood, and I led that charge. I got all of her records and went through it trying to find ours sitting at my desk. So there's just some stuff you're not going to be able to say that we didn't do for black people. And these were the biggest cases.
Yep.
The biggest cases in our time.
I remember when John Flynn was running.
Yes.
And the first thing you said is to hear this case. And that speaks to leadership.
In public.
Real leadership that we don't always have, that it's all about politics. Well, sometimes it's just about doing the right thing.
Leadership, that's the key. And who you going to stand up for.
Yes.
And if you're going to stand up for somebody, you got to realize you're going to alienate somebody else.
Yes.
Well, and not just that. And this is where you talk about unity and us realizing not only our power, but our influence.
Yeah.
If you're going to come to black churches to give votes, then you better hear a black agenda.
You better say it.
So,
and I'm very clear.
Yep.
When folks come, about what it is we want. And I said that to Flynn in private, and then I said it to him on the stage. And then even when he and I went back and forth, I remember where I was then. And he was, but you know, big ups, it happened.
Yeah.
But I remember when he called me, he's like, and I'm like, nope. I remember I was in Florida getting soul food. Monique was sitting there in the car, and I had John on speakerphone, and I was shaking my head, and she was shaking her head. Like, no, we're not giving up this battle.
Yes.
Nope.
And we did not give up on them, and I'm so grateful for. If I wasn't staying away from City Hall like I was, like I am, I'd be there Tuesday because the vote is Tuesday, right? Mm-hmm. The vote is Tuesday. I want to be there so bad, but I promise you have to come get me because I ain't going through no metal detectors and all that. It's Wednesday?
Wednesday, I believe. Claims.
Oh, claims. Because you all haven't even had the claims meeting yet. Okay. So I don't know how the Buffalo News got it, but it's in the Buffalo News. It did not come from Councilmember Wyatt. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because I've been there. Council members get a confidential packet, and they're not supposed to talk about what's in that packet. So everything I'm talking about today came out of the Buffalo News. Period. So Wednesday claims will meet, and if they send it without rec, which means that they don't vote, it'll happen at the next council meeting. But I'm praying to God. That it happens, and I just love those men. They have embraced me, and I didn't. They're one of them. It's a shame. It's a shame. So I don't know if their estate gets,
I was getting ready to say, I was just thinking that I hope the estates of the other ones that were victims as well get something as to go along with it.
Absolutely. All right. So that's local news. Let me talk about a little bit about national news. Now, folks, if you have to be under a rock to not know what's happening right now. And this is not Republican Democrat stuff. I'm just talking about it as a regular citizen. Because if this was a Democrat making these choices, I'd say the same daggone thing.
Absolutely.
The President of the United States has placed Matt Gaetz,
the incoming president,
the incoming for Attorney General. Gaetz is a controversial figure who's been under FBI investigation and faced a House Ethics Committee inquiry. Mm-hmm. He quits right before there's going to be a report.
Yep.
Which makes the report moot because he's not an elected official anymore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But he's going to head the Attorney General's office. So all of the folks, I believe, and I said this the other week, who were convicted of a crime.
Yep.
For breaking into the Capitol, I believe every one of them are going to be pardoned. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
I believe that there won't be any more real investigations out of the Attorney General's office if it has anything to do with government, because right now it's over.
Including 47.
Yes.
All of those are getting ready.
All
those 47 investigations get ready to go away.
Be gone. He will not serve any time, which he probably wouldn't have anyway.
No.
And I'm not out here saying he should serve time. Let me be clear. That's up to a judge.
Absolutely.
He just appointed Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
That's the one.
To the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now, if you all don't know how destructive this man is, he doesn't believe in vaccines. Mm-hmm. There's so much this man does not believe in. This man who was running for president talked about killing a bear.
Yes.
And keeping it's just so much. Like, I get controversial. I'm controversial. I get it. But why would you put somebody, so you don't care about the environment anymore.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. You don't care about health anymore. Mm-mm. And Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, who is an anchor man for Fox News, who was in the National Guard, I believe, ain't got no experience. So not only are we putting our environment in danger,
our whole country,
not only are we putting our health in danger, because if God forbid, Lord, please, that we have another outbreak of anything, because the person who is going to be responsible for our health doesn't believe in vaccines. And I got it. Some of y'all don't believe in them. But at least give me the choice.
But that's even your flu vaccine. That's your common stuff. Your measles, your mumps,
Everything.
It's
This man does not believe in.
Yep.
Our national security is at threat. He takes one that's not, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, and again, no experience in these fields. These are all friends of his. In some of the research, Kennedy's appointment could affect vaccine policies, potentially endanger the lives of vaccination rates decrease. Lives if vaccination rates decrease. We're in trouble.
And I think this is kind of piggybacking off of where we were last week.
Oh, we ain't got nothing up here.
No, it's just we can be upset with the results of last Tuesday with 47. But now he is surrounding himself. Your cabinet is getting ready to look like Fox News. But not only that, these confirmation hearings are going to be short because, again, this country has given full power to the Republican Party with no checks and balance. So, like you said, Godspeed.
It's interesting because there's not speculation. There was conversation with this president and the new incoming Senate Majority Leader regarding being able for the president to be able to assign people to the Senate without any confirmation.
Yep.
So I'm like, what is this set up for? And then he made some kind of joke, supposedly, about them never being another presidential race again.
Yeah.
That's nothing to joke about because you said that you want to, you think that you should just be the president forever.
He wants to turn
like
us
turn
us into a monarchy.
Yeah.
I want you to hear RFK Jr. and Bill Mayer discuss vaccines real quick.
Do you agree with that? Recall it.
I think I think those vaccines we need to have, again, true double-blind placebo-controlled trials on that. There's 25% of Americans who believe that they know somebody who was killed by a COVID vaccine. Killed. 25% of Americans, 52% of Americans believe that the vaccines are causing injuries, including death. 52%. Oh, if you look at the clinical trial studies, the actual studies that were done, that were released, of the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna has not released it. If you look at the Pfizer vaccine, there were 22,000 people in the placebo group, 22,000.
So this is who's going to head this.
Someone who sounds like he needs something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also afraid, I don't know with all these picks what happens to federal programs.
Gone.
Federal programs that deal with health, federal programs that are now paying for different initiatives like health equity.
Like the Medicaid program.
All of that.
You can have someone come and help you in your home.
Bruh.
Gone.
Bruh, I don't know for a fact that they will be, but we have to be concerned about this.
Well, you know what they'll do is everything will be called reallocation to something else. So, like you said, you're talking about these programs. You're talking about the health equity. You're talking, the first big target is universal health care. The Obamacare is the first thing on their agenda to dismantle. So
imagine before he tried to do it and couldn't do it.
Right.
Yep.
This time, he has total control.
And the Supreme Court to justify it.
And for those of you, and I'm going to say it over and over because it's a daggone shame. Ooh, I wish I wasn't on the radio. Those of you who want to fight each other here, we over here in this city fighting each other.
Yep.
Y'all missed the whole boat. You missed the whole boat. Because what's going to affect our people more than anything is going to be the federal government, because you don't know how much money comes out of the federal government that trickles down to states,
Yep.
that trickles down to cities.
Sure does.
I'm telling you right now, reality check, by this time next year, it's going to be a lot of reality check, and including in this city.
Absolutely.
When monies are limited, and I'm all for it. Let me say this. I'm all for cutting the deficit. I'm all for finding ways to save. Because he put Elon Musk
Yeah.
in an efficiency era
Yep.
place. I'm all for that. But America has some wrongs to right. Oh, and y'all may as well stop talking about all that reparations.
Yeah, that's the.
It was just a meeting, I believe.
I
this
know.
past week.
Yeah.
But you better be getting the reparations. You better be getting it from the state. Because what you're not about to get in the next 4 years is reparations from the federal government. So if you was going to buy a new car with your reparations, let me tell you, don't go put a down payment down.
No.
And Elon Musk is in a position where he's has all these federal contracts. How do you put this man in a position where he's getting money from the federal government? So we're going to tweak it so that he can get more money?
Well,
or
this
put it into an LLC or whatever? It's just
Well, this
it's
is
just
what
conflicts of
this
interest
is
all
what
over
I've
the
been
place.
saying for a while.
I know it's overwhelming.
The Red Party just does what they want. They wrote the rules. They know how to bend the rules, or they rewrite the rules. Meanwhile, the Blue Party always wants to have the moral compass, while that 1% in the Blue Party helps rewrite rules. So it's I'm gonna say it is damned if you do, damned if you don't. But our vote is our control. It is our defense mechanism. And again, 15 million people, or 15 to 20 million people, sat home and said, "Oh, do whatever you want." And that's the reality, and that's the wake up call that's going to happen. So, like you said, you can go to the state for reparations, but when the state's like, we don't have any more money because the federal government isn't giving it to us, and then so now when you're looking even for a city program and housing and roof replacements, and all that money is gone because it's been reallocated, then you, like you said, you're going to keep fighting local government, and they're like, I'm trying to keep city afloat, and we're still trying to keep picking up trash. We don't have the extra money to now still do all the other programming.
So he put in a post recently, and I'm talking about Kennedy, who he's going to be over U.S. Centers of Disease and Prevention and U.S. Food and Drug. So yes, and prevention and the U.S. Food and Drug. So these are people who make policies about the inspection of meats and all that. He says, quote, FDA's, the Federal Drug Administration's war on public health is about to end. He said in a social media post, this includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, of peptides, I don't even know what, stem cells, raw milk. Like, yeah, we gonna be sick. Hyperbaric therapies, chelating compound. I'm gonna skip some of these. Vitamins, clean food, sunshine, exercise, neutral something, and anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. If you work for the FDA and you're a part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. One, preserve your records, and two, pack your bags. That warning followed comments Kennedy has made about ending National Institutes of Health research into infectious diseases. You want us in research into diseases and African Americans? Shame on you if you don't get this, because there is something called health inequity. We are dying at faster rates. We are dying. We're affected by cancer more. We're affected by diabetes more. We're affected by hypertension more. We are infected or affected by infectious diseases. And this man says, ending National Institutes of Health research into infectious diseases, putting doctors in the field on edge. Listen to this, y'all. I'm not making this up. And this is a quote not by him. But by Dr. Paul Offit, Director of Vaccine Education. Center and infectious at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. Quote, infectious diseases are very much a part of our present and will be very much a part of our future. And he wants to stop studying them. But, folks stayed at home.
My vote don't count.
People said they wasn't going to vote for her. All I can do now, sit back with my popcorn and watch what's going to happen. Because you can say it till you blue in the face, but sometimes people got to feel
You
it.
got to feel it.
So when you feel it and all this stuff, this man talking about, so new infectious diseases are on the way. We need to be ahead of the curve,
Yep.
not behind the curve.
Then I think, and I was a kid, so you guys, not saying that you're older, but maybe you can help me. Does this take us back to like the Reaganomics era? Did he have full control of DC when he was in?
I don't think anybody, he wasn't as, and I'll use the word radical.
Yeah, he wasn't as radical.
He wasn't as
yeah.
radical.
No.
So even having control, there was still checks and balances, and he wasn't running around putting people in positions that were not qualified.
Yeah.
Right.
So we might not have agreed on everything with
Right.
Reagan, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel like he was a threat.
Right, okay. I just didn't know, is this, because I was trying to think back in my recent memory. I know Democrats had it for a small while. That's how, like, Obamacare and certain things got through. None of us really all had the Supreme Court. That was the Supreme Court was always kind of balanced for most of my life, I remember. But I didn't know going back that far, because I know.
Yeah. No. So among other things, he has misstated the contents of vaccine, falsely claiming evidence that HIV originated with vaccine research.
Oh,
now, this is a person who there are millions of people alive right now with full-blown AIDS
Yep.
because of research.
Yep.
Magic Johnson.
And they're living normal lives.
Yes.
And if we did not have that research, we would still be burying people with AIDS and with HIV.
And just like the drug epidemic, it's not an epidemic until it affects a certain population of people. So I think this, again, is going to be one of those cycles where it's not us until it's them, and then it's an epidemic, and then we start researching again. Because, again, even the AIDS epidemic didn't take off until it started affecting Hollywood. And then next thing you know, it was, we got to do something about this.
But but the scary thing about this whole conversation and how we're moving is this the new norm? Is this what it boils up? Trump has done, he did so much that you would have thought that this guy would have been blown out of the water. But he stayed. And then these individuals he's putting in place, is this going to make it okay? Even though they're radical? I know that they've been talking about the fluoride. Is he gonna take
It's
fluoride
right.
out of the
That's
water?
what I was about to
Because
say.
we just got the fluoride, and I've talked to people who said the fluoride has really damaged our children, especially minority children, black and brown children. So now we're going to get rid of the fluoride, and it's going to make your dental situation even worse. But those are the common sense things that, again, we used to have this issue with party.
Yep.
But now we have a real radical.
Oh, absolutely.
Republican, Democrat, they weren't radical. They have different policies, but this is really radical.
Well,
the things that
and
he's doing.
fluoride, and I quote from CNN Health, a mineral found naturally in the environment and in some foods, and it can be a byproduct of certain industries. It has been added to many public water systems across the country since 1945. Now, when Buffalo hasn't had it, like you said, we didn't even know. I was council president. I ain't have no idea we ain't have no fluoride. Now it's coming back in the water. Kennedy has said the second Trump administration would advise that fluoride be removed from the nation's water supply. Now, here it is again, the inequity. Some communities, they do better at oral care.
Yep.
They have health insurance.
Yep.
They can go to the dentist as they're supposed to.
Yep.
Then you have other communities that they don't have that access.
No.
And if whether you know it or not, there's some people that wait almost a year for an appointment,
Yep.
depending if they got to go to certain clinics.
Yep.
So now you take away the fluoride. So now not only do we live bad, we look bad. We got some
I
problems.
know we got to pick a struggle. You can't you can't look bad and be bad. Like you got to pick a struggle.
And then you got the folks for the defense. This is the protection of our country. If other countries figure out that the person who's going to lead the troops, he's talking about firing generals. We just need to fire more generals. I'm a vet. I'm a veteran. There's a reason that you have a chain of command. There's a reason you have a general on every base. There is a reason. It is for the protection of our country and for order.
And let's be clear, you're only going to fire the generals who don't agree with you.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you're going to keep because didn't Trump promise that we wouldn't be in so many wars if he was president? So is that really true, or is it now you're going to keep the generals that want to be at war? So there's a lot of unknown.
And this guy who is going into that department to defense says he's going to end this war on woke.
Yes.
So he says, and that no women now, no combat,
Yep.
no combat, and you got women out there. He's been quoted about saying women are weaker, women are this, women. You got women out there who can fly these airplanes better than it's just like a women preacher.
Yep.
Oh, we don't want women in the pulpit. Well, you should have told them that in the Bible,
Sure did.
especially the Gospels. At the end of the day, I think it is so disrespectful. If I'm even with giving them a choice, that would mean then women shouldn't be police officers,
Yep.
firefighters. They choose to be that. So if I'm a woman and I don't want to be in combat, I don't go sign up for the army.
No.
They fought for that right.
Absolutely.
They said they have 200,000 women now enlisted. How do you undo that? That's just
Well, he's saying that
crazy.
they can come, they can cook, they can be nurses on the side, but he don't want them having no guns on the front line. Where are we going? Is this make America great again? Because it don't sound like it's going to be too great for people of color.
And the thing is, it just seems like from this national security standpoint, he's going into the hands of the Chinese and the Russians. Because if we come out of NATO and we're no longer protecting anybody, we just take care of America, sooner or later they're going to come for us.
Absolutely. Listen, I got to go. I'm sorry. This is, Hobson's a doctor of dry cleaning, 874 East Delavan Avenue. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. In your hour of need, it's Brian K. Lewis. Let me say it again. Brian K. Lewis. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. I gotta marinate on that. I got a lot going through my head today. Till next week. Power to the people.